celebration. The place was packed last week, and then, wouldn't you know, I don't know what I got, but my right cheek swelled up, and I had a huge lymph node and was down. Then, not only that, but I'm saying this for a reason. Then on Friday, pipes burst in my house while I couldn't do anything about it because I wasn't feeling real well. And so I had to get immediately, but this is the key, immediately a plumber was available. Now, it was the force of the water was crazy. It was just exponential, both in my bedroom downstairs and in the bathroom. And I had to get a plumber and restoration team. We've had fans, those noisy fans going on. I want to say this because we have entered a time of chaos. And when you enter a time of chaos, you have to ground yourself in worship. And I believe that worship is as important as ever before. Worship is always important. If somebody can just hand me a Kleenex, my nose is still running from whatever I caught. I think my brother brought it in from Saudi Arabia. You know, it's one of those Saudi Arabian germs. So, but anyway, learning to live in the middle of chaos and not letting chaos unsettle you. It will unsettle you, but you've got to get right back to your grounding. Psalms 91, he that dwells in the secret place. Adewunmi just spoke about it. Come on. Put that mic up to your mouth.
He that dwells in the secret place of the Most High shall abide under the shadow of the Almighty. I will say of the Lord, he is my refuge and my fortress, my God in whom I trust.
Now listen, be quiet a minute. Got to get you all quiet. You're a noisy bunch. God help us, jeez. But not only did my pipes burst, but Steve Hansen had just finished a renovation, and it burst in the part that was being renovated. Now, I said, Steve, I believe God's saying something to us. I believe there's a prophetic statement in the middle of this. That much doesn't happen without God trying to get our attention about something. And I wrote to Steve and I said, it's representative of the gusher coming, but we need to be prepared. And he said, yes, I agree. I believe the Lord is saying that the outpouring of his glory that will cover the earth like the waters that cover the sea is now transitioning in the midst of his people. I want you to hear this because we've got to become intentional. We must be an intentional people. We can't say, oh, glory, hallelujah, woo, 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 woo. But we've got to be intentional. And he said, my master bath was flooded. It went into the new basement, overflowed into the guest bathroom, putting in new flooring and subdeck and drywall, and it got to all of it. I believe it speaks of the old system. Come on. Now, you need to ask God, what is this saying? Each of us need to ask God, what part of the old system is still operating in us? Steve Swanson just put a thing on Elijah List, and he said we have to find new sounds, new words, new music. So what are you doing that's routinized? What are you doing that's habitual? We need to come out of whatever we're doing religiously, spiritually, that is ritualistically habitual, and ask God what is the new order. How do we respond to him in this hour? And he said the old system can't, now listen to this, can't contain the pressure coming forth from the new flow the Lord is releasing into the earth and system that carries the water that will be needed to upgrade to the new. There is an outpouring that is busting open old systems all around, political, social, religious, etc., forcing us to upgrade into the new. We have entered the force of the overflow of heaven. The old weaker places will leak and maybe burst so that it can be upgraded for the new. Some of you have things that are breaking in your life. You know you're at the end of something. You know that there's things that need to be transitioned, or else you're going to lose hope and give up. How many of you understand what I'm saying? It's like something's got to give. It's that kind of a thing. Something's got to give. And so it has to be upgraded for the new, but it must be upgraded for the new to come in. Some places will see the breaking and leaking, but the upgrade to the new is in the midst of it all. We can't respond to the mess. I want you to hear that, because it'll unsettle you. You'll get irritated. You have to get a hold of your emotions, and you have to worship. I had to get intentional. You know, the chaos all around me this last week. But see the potential for the upgrade that comes after the mess. Just lift your hands now. Usually they say don't do this. Lift your hands right now and say, God, thank you for the mess.
God, thank you for the mess.
Because you're speaking to me. And you're challenging me to find a new way. That's your way. And not my habitual way of responding, or the old way of spiritually responding. I want you to say, you're upgrading me. You're upgrading the state of Michigan. You are going to pour your glory out on the state of Michigan. You're going to pour your glory out on the university. You're going to pour your glory out on us. So we've entered into the overflow and spilling out of the overflow. The waters have crested and are now pouring down, and we are experiencing in the physical the force and momentum of heaven that is pushing forth the new that we have entered into. The glory of the Lord is pouring out. Now just give him thanks right now. Just give him thanks right now. Just give him thanks right now. And just say, the chaos in my life is challenging me to find new ways, a new path forward, and to change things that are non-productive and don't achieve kingdom purposes. God, I'm yours. I worship you. Because if I worship you, you're not going to overcome me with you're not going to let me be overcome with the chaos. But I'm going to be overcome with your glory. Now just shout to the Lord.
I just want to add to the plumbing issue. I just had a plumber at my house yesterday. I had a leaky spigot on the outside, and I asked him because my pump had been running a lot. We have a few people in our house. Anyways, he said you need a new bladder tank because it was filling with water. So I went and picked one up yesterday. I got a bigger one with a higher capacity to be able to have more pressure in my house for for a bigger switch because to be able to contain it. So I believe we're getting all new bladder tanks, man. To be able to withstand the glory of the Lord and the release of this fountain of glory that's coming. So it's just, I didn't know it was going to be a prophetic act, but here I am. I'll be working on it later today.
I wanted to share this. The other morning we had that blue moon that came. It was so bright. And what happened is something shifted at the manifest presence of God's glory. And I could feel it in the atmosphere. Something shifted in that realm. And I was talking to Jane. But what happens with the blue moon? It's a double portion of the moons.
Yeah, it is.
And so what happens every 1 or 3 years, there can be a double portion of the moons, 2 of them at one time, full, and then 1 month. And so what happened in the midst of that there, I got home and I was talking to Jennifer. We were praying the other morning and sharing us about the moon. I said, something is changing. But you think about the triumph reserve. Apostle Chuck talked about, the manifestations of the moon. It would be so bright, and the glory of the God would come upon the house and the glory. And so the people would come in, and they would come in, but they would leave 7 times brighter with the glory and the presence of God. That's where we're at. But what happened on my phone app was wild, because I got home out of church, Sunday, and I had this thing. It pulled up after I was talking to Sharon, and it showed that, the double portion when it pulled up, but it also showed the sign for that month in there. Chuck always moves by that stuff, but it showed a woman that was pregnant. In the process is, why do I feel pregnant, but I'm not pregnant, but was about ready to give birth? It looked like, the water was beginning to break. And so I felt like we were stepping in to that open portal of God's glory and manifestation of his kingdom that's coming. And so even as the testimonies are given today, Father, we welcome, oh God, your manifest glory portal, oh God, that is now released, oh God, in the realm of the Spirit, oh God. So Father, we thank you for the birthing of the new, oh God. We thank you, Lord God, you'll overtake us, oh God, with your glory and your presence, oh God, in the name of Jesus, oh God. So today we will rejoice. There's a spirit of rejoicing in the house, for this is the day of the new moon and celebration in the house today, says the Spirit of the Lord.
Higher ground, great God. We say higher ground, God. We're going higher in your glory. We're going higher in your word. You are transforming our lives and taking us from glory to glory as by the Spirit of the living God.
We declare glory over Michigan. We stand and we declare glory over Lansing. We declare glory over Mackinac Island. From the north to the south, the east and the west, we say Michigan is filled with the glory of the Lord. Come on, yeah, give us that sound. Let the earth rumble with your glory. Come on. Come on.
For the Lord says we are entering a new season when even there is a new sound. And even as you listen to the Holy Spirit, I am going to cause you to play as you've never played before, that there are sounds coming down from heaven that shall literally shift the earth, shall shift the atmosphere, shall shift people, shall shift everything. For I am doing a new thing. And I say that there is a rumbling in the earth, and I am shaking everything that can be shaken. You are going to see news that will shock you, that will literally cause you to take a deep breath. You will say, where in the world did this come from? There will be things that will be difficult to believe. There will be things that will want you to just shout in anger, burst out. There's all kinds kinds of things that are getting ready to happen. But the Lord said, I am shaking. And in Haggai chapter 2, when God begins to shake, He's shaking loose His glory. He's shaking every kingdom that has arrayed itself against the manifestation of His glory. And I say to you that as you open your heart, as you open your pocketbook, this is key, because Haggai is very linked to the financial systems. And he said that as you trust me, I am going to shake loose wealth. You say the wealth system is going down. I say that my people will experience Goshen if they will begin to give according to my word to them. For there is a new release of finances in the earth beyond anything you can imagine for those who will follow me with abandonment. Do not fear the false prophets, for I will create Goshen in the midst of you and protect you when the enemy is totally surrounded. There is a shaking. Listen to the shaking, but shout, because it's loosing my glory in the earth.
Shout! We speak to the supply lines in the earth. We speak to the pipes and the supply lines of the economic systems of the earth. We say, let the glory rest upon it and cause pressure on the pipes to burst for my people. I say now, let economics be realigned and wealth transferred into the hands of my people. Shout to God. Hear the sound that is rumbling across the earth. Hear the sound that is rumbling within you. There is a rumbling on the inside of you, and pressure is building. Pressure is building, because out of your bellies will flow rivers of living waters.
And even those things that are shaking, relationships that are shaking, the Lord said, look at what I am doing. I want to shift things into a whole brand new flow. Do not fear the shaking of relationships. Do not fear, for I am doing a realignment. I am bringing you into alignment with me. Follow me and you will make it all the way through. And I say that I am even shaking relationships to bring them into my order rather than man's order. I'm shaking marriages. I'm shaking friendships. I'm shaking whatever kind of relationships there are, for I am ushering in my order. And I say that man's order must go, for there is an order that will bring glory, and I am bringing glory into the midst of chaos.
It's really interesting. The Lord just brought something to my attention right now. The deluge in the house began during a time of cleansing. For the power washers were there cleaning the patio and the deck. And in the middle of them, starting on the upper deck, all heaven broke. I was going to say all hell broke loose. If you were living in it, you might have thought that. All heaven broke loose, and Niagara Falls began to pour. It seemed through the house, because with the two fellows and myself, we couldn't find where the shutoff valve was in, behind the furnace. all I found behind the furnace was a dead mouse. Maybe that's prophetic too. But listen, I just realized, it says in the Word, search me, O Lord. David says, search me, O Lord, and check me out and see if there's anything within me that you're not happy with. And I just sensed for myself, because at home back in Toronto for about the last year and a half, I've been proclaiming with bravado, well, when everything hits the fan, when the shaking comes, my little cliche was, well, how then shall we live? And I had an experience this week of finding out, how then shall I live? With attitudinal stuff that needed cleansing, and was. But I just realized it was when the cleansing was going on that the glory broke forth. And so, Father, I just say for everyone here, Lord, as we're longing for that release of your life in the midst of chaos, and we will have his life in the midst of chaos, but I absolutely believe that cleansing of his body will come simultaneously or even a little bit before.
I think we need to ask God right now what needs to be cleaned. I hadn't even put that together, but I ordered the power washers to clean off the deck and the little green algae that was growing around the bottom of the brick. But when they got to the upper level, hear what she said. When they got to the upper level of my house, it all broke loose. There's an upper level that we're to go to. And when we get to the upper level, the pipes will break. Because the cleansing was then half completed of the house.
Hallelujah. So we're going to do one more thing, and then we'll transition back into that song of worship. Chaos takes us to Genesis chapter 1. After God created the heaven and the earth, the Bible says the earth was without form and void. That's the word tohu bohu, chaos and darkness. And what did God do? He said, let there be light. So that's what we're going to do. You are going to decree and shout at the top of your lungs, let there be light. Are you ready? Every chaos in your life, every chaos in your family, every chaos in Michigan, every chaos in America, every chaos across the world, we decree as Shekinah, as a people, let there be light. Oh, come on, let's do it one more time. Let's do it one more time. At the mouth of 2 or 3, a witness is established. Let's go. 1, 2, 3. Let there be light. Let us worship.